There we go. Let's hit it.
Let's hit it.
I don't have time to. I don't. I don't have time for you today, Peter.
No, me neither.
I have emails from three weeks ago. I need to get to. So.
I have 2 jobs I need to get to.
3 jobs.
2 jobs.
All right. Well, let's get on.
And I am getting a cargo bite delivered mid podcast.
Oh.
And the exciting thing is whether they're going to call me and then screw up that I'm filming this, or if they're just going to show up and then my wife can take the bite.
Because you're tethering, and it's going to interrupt the.
No, I'm filming with my iPhone.
Oh, all right. You'll just have to do some to film the delivery guy. Just tell him that you're a YouTuber, and that
he can be part of the podcast. Maybe if he calls in.
Yeah.
Dude, I had the worst day yesterday. Literally.
What happened?
The one kid was sick, just puking all day, and I was alone because Maya was in Copenhagen. And then I had a plumber come to look at some stuff that wasn't supposed to really be anything. But then the guy's like, "Wait, do you have rats?" And I'm like, I hope not. And he was like, there's clearly like a hole in this pipe and it's from rats. I'm like almost 100% sure. And I didn't even like check it myself. I just like, this guy like seems like authoritative. Like he says there's rats, like there's rats. So I'm like talking to the insurance company. Like I'm picking the other kid up at kindergarten while I'm talking to insurance on the phone, and the other kid is puking over there, and it's just like everything was just like just the worst day possible. But then this morning someone came to look at the supposed rat hole, and they were like, that's just a normal hole between 2 pipes. And it's
what's a normal hole between 2 pipes?
Well, it's just basically like where one pipe connects to another pipe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just about to say that, like, supposed to be one in each end, and then if you count to more than 2, you have a problem.
Exactly. But yeah, this is basically just like this pipe connects to another pipe, and it looked like a hole that kind of went into the ground because the other pipe had like I don't know, whatever. It looked fine today. And we don't have rats, and it's an extreme relief. Like the only benefit is that I learned how I would feel if we had rats, and I felt better than I thought I would.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Because it was a very realistic trial.
What do they call it? The philosophy of Stoics. The Stoics is like negative visualization, like where you imagine.
Yeah, this was
that
a very realistic trial run.
Yeah, it's nice.
So yeah, but now everything will be checked because I don't ever want to have to worry about this again.
I mean, that hits you really when you buy a house for the first time. Like you just go around,
just doesn't stop.
Notice a crack and think that like now that's my crack.
Yeah,
my crack now.
And my brain is like, and soon I won't have a house.
Yeah.
I'll just be gone. Everything will be gone except my mortgage.
But how would you feel?
So that's it. That's it. When was the last time we recorded? 2 weeks ago? Probably.
2 weeks ago, yeah. You had a crunch. You were in crunch mode last week.
Yeah, I was working on MCP stuff.
You had to get a fake course out.
Oh, right. That was last week, yeah. Yeah, we released it yesterday. Did you check out the copy?
Yeah. It's really fun. Some of it, I didn't read it all.
We launched a course template.
Yeah,
there's videos and everything. We launched a course template for Tailwind Plus because we're going to want to do a course ourselves soon, so we might as well do a template for it as well. And the content is like it's a course on how you don't have free will. Basically, everything is predetermined, and it's a huge relief because you don't nothing is your fault.
Yeah.
And then Dan on the team did like a whole like course on that, basically using a lot of ChatGPT, I guess. And we came up with this guy, Tom Harris, that's like running the course. Kind of looks like someone has kind of similar name.
Like he fits the part. Is that what you say? Like he looks like a
Yeah, and he did like a ton of graphics, and the graphics are there in like light and dark mode versions, and there's
Oh
videos,
yeah,
AI
yeah.
generated videos for everything. And
Like
then
the
I was put in charge of making the interview transcripts. So there's like an interviews page where you do like video interviews basically. And then so we did like the transcripts have like the design is like really nice with like timestamps that you can click, and then it's supposed to start the video at that timestamp. It doesn't do that because the videos are only like 30 seconds, just because it was like really hard to generate them.
yeah.
Um, so we just did like 30 seconds of like one part of the interview that was like sort of meant to be in the video. Yeah, and then it's like 6 interviews with like these like people believe in determinism. One of them is a quantum scientist that figured out that you can reach this quantum nirvana state, where the reason you don't have free will is because every possible outcome is being experienced in a different universe at the same time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then you're just living one of them.
That's
but then
what.
if you can achieve sort of awareness across all multiple parallel universes all at once, right, and experience everything all at once, you can pick which one you focus on.
Oh, nice.
Consciously.
So you can move between
and then he's like, and that's the closest you ever get to free will.
First time I heard about that multiverse theory was when I was at high school. Was that in English? It's like a recreational boarding school.
It's like a boarding school for where you just go for fun when you don't know what else to do.
Yeah, it's like a half a year course. I went for music, and my roommate one night we were going to sleep. He said like, if there's like, if one were to believe that there were like the universe is like infinite in size, there must be infinite planets, and then everything that can happen will happen and happens all the time and has happened, and it's like,
you're like bro.
Yeah. He's really like broadening out the whole theory, and then just at the end, he says a quiet, so sleep tight. and then I was left with my brain trying to figure out what that would mean for my existence and existence in general.
Yeah,
that was nice. He was a funny guy. He was
not
like
the best place to go.
He got straight A pluses in everything in high school, and then he had a hard time putting on the bed sheets. That kind of guy. Yep. A jazz pianist.
Yeah.
All right, so that's crunch mode. That's one part of crunch mode. You were making a fake course, and then
crunching
you had another crunch mode
on MCP stuff, and it was noticed. That's why I said I have 2 jobs now.
Right.
I picked up a new gig, because I've been tweeting about all this AI stuff and just got really into the whole like MCP thing with some of the stuff at Tailwind and some of my own ideas, and yeah, then I got a message from the Laravel team asking if I wanted to spend some time over there just exploring random AI ideas. Like, it wasn't like super specified or anything like that, and less than 2 weeks later I started. So
now you're a manual MCP server at Laravel.
I have part-time joined the Laravel team for now, and for like just trying it for a few months to see how it works. With like, I still have my job at Tailwind, and it was like pretty vague what I was gonna do there, but it came out of nowhere and feels like I've been called to serve. I've been using Laravel since 2012, I think, which is like a long time ago, I guess. So yeah, it's been crazy, and it's been fun so far. I started this week, and I'm working on some right now. I'm working on some more MCP experiments. Nice. I think I'll be allowed to talk about most of it. At least everything that's like open source, I'm pretty sure I can just talk about here. If there's stuff like that is like for some of the commercial products that has been announced yet, I can't talk about it, but I think most of it will be open source to begin with. So that part I'm pretty sure I can talk about. Yes, it's crazy. I have
so
2
how
jobs
do you manage,
now, 2 part-time jobs.
Yeah, juggling 2 kids, 2 jobs.
Yeah, so basically the way I'm
jobs?
juggling it is side projects are off. they're no side projects.
All right.
There's just there's Tailwind, Laravel, and family.
All right. The family being the only side project.
The third on the list. Yep.
How do the kids rank?
Yeah, I'll tell you off the line.
All right.
So, but yeah, you're a bit crazy. Like maybe if things go well, maybe I'll get another logo on Twitter next to the Tailwind.
The square one is next to your name. I've yet to have a single one. Now. Yeah. So maybe there's maybe you can wing this by doing something MCP server that can do your Tailwind job for you. So
well, actually, I've been doing a lot of stuff to sort of automate away my job at Tailwind. So that's kind of how a lot of this started, just because I thought it was fun to like try to see if AI could do more of it. I am the only one responsible for most of the stuff I do at Tailwind, so I feel like even if AI does most of it, I'm still going to oversee it and be responsible for what the AI does. But yeah, it'd be ideal you take less time, you know.
That's exciting, Peter.
I remember when I started Laravel, Adam told me, if you can find a way to do support that takes 5 minutes, I don't care.
Yeah. You mean started Tailwind? You said started Laravel.
When I started at Tailwind, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm already doing this.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way it should be, right? That's the whole remote job promise. But I guess that's like also dependent on what you think your job is, right? Is it to do the thing, or is it to I don't know,
minimize the thing.
Do
make the problem go away,
or to make the company grow, I guess. Like if it's to do the external thing, then sure, if you can do it faster, then you're off earlier. But if the task is to make the company grow, or like I don't know, hit some key metrics or whatever, you could find something else to do probably that would.
At Laravel, it's a bit more hour based because it's like they're hiring me to spend time prototyping and experimenting and, you know, building cool things. So that's just going to take a certain amount of time to do that. The Tailwind job is kind of different. It's like make these problems go away so we don't have to worry about them. So we have more time.
Yeah. Your job is to be a buffer, to be like a
firewall.
Yeah, the firewall.
My job is to be that no one else has to touch their email ever. Nice. I think I'm the only one that has it at tailwindcss.com email at the company, which is kind of hilarious.
You're the COO.
I have a Laravel one now because I use Gmail and whatever, like single sign-on. I don't even know all this like corporate stuff.
Do they use Orca, or what is it called? Okta it's called.
I don't know. I haven't seen that.
Use that at Elastic.
But they use a lot of things. That's there's a whole. But it's interesting to see.
Yeah.
How they do things compared to Tailwind.
To like get on the inside. See, oh, all right. That's how things work here. Doesn't work here.
This is a crazy exciting opportunity, and I hope it goes well. I don't know, feel like I already had some good ideas shared, and now I'm working on some of those. I don't want to say exactly what I'm working on right now because I haven't really cleared it with anyone yet. But I'm pretty sure going forward, I'll be allowed to talk about most of what I do as long as it's like supposed to be open source related.
Right.
So nothing has happened.
Sorry, go ahead.
What? I'm just saying nothing has happened on the side project front because I'm just, as soon as this Laravel stuff came up, I was like, this is the most exciting thing. No, is more exciting than side projects. So side projects will have to wait until I'm no longer doing this for some reason.
Do you have any time limits or expectations on how long it's
Yeah,
going to
we're
be?
doing like a trial now, basically, just to see how it works and if
Right.
it even makes sense. Like, I don't think they do a lot of like part time. It's kind of a, and I'm also like, I'm not on a team or anything. I'm just like a contractor.
Right. Yeah, you'll
Um,
also need to have a time for finding your third part-time job.
right. I
Right.
have
You
to
can't.
need to time for my interviews and pu-
Yeah.
brushing up my resume.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice
Building
to get
a.
some AI on my resume. If
Oh yeah, that's right.
that's
That's
going to be
right.
a big thing, apparently.
How do you like? That's something that I've never really thought about too much. Is like when you're a contractor, how do you put it on your resume?
Just put it there.
Yeah, maybe possibly. Yeah, but it's like if it's 2 weeks.
Just put it there. Don't
Yeah,
just put
you're
the
probably
year.
right. Oh yeah. You worked at 9 companies that year. Yep. All
um,
right.
I'm testing Dinero, the accounting software that a lot of people use in Denmark.
Yeah.
I'm testing their new virtual CFO feature, which is like an AI based thing.
Oh
And it was
wow.
like, you need to find more customers because you have too much risk because you only have one customer, which is
Yeah,
Tailwind.
that's probably right.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be elated with the news of your second customer now.
Yeah, it's gonna be thrilled that I minimized the risk a little bit.
You have sliced it in half.
Yeah,
How do you find Dinero?
bringing in a bit more dough. That part is good too.
Dinero is they have an AI lead product guy who's talking about a bunch about AI
Who's
engineering
in
videos
Soy?
and everything. I forget his name. I feel
Rasmus.
bad. Yeah,
He's in
maybe
Soy.
possibly, yeah.
I just had a beer with him a few
Yeah,
days ago.
seems like a cool guy.
Yeah, we have like a little like group here in town for like entrepreneur-ish people. We all the good of us, we always end up getting jobs.
Oh, the struggle.
but
Life is hard.
but yeah, we meet like every other month at a bar in town and at the bar in town and have a beer. And I actually just told him like we should have like an AI mastermind in town because he's doing the AI stuff at over there, and I'm doing it with Laravel. So
Yeah, and then the
yeah,
founder of Dinero is a pretty prolific Danish entrepreneur called Martin Thorborg. For the
he's
foreigners.
I love him.
Yeah, he has opinions.
Oh.
And he doesn't hold them back.
Awkward.
Yeah. All right.
I wanted to talk about. I'm sure I wanted to talk about some of the stuff I was doing at Tailwind before I started doing stuff at Laravel, but I can't remember how much I talked about it last time. Like how.
You
Do you remember how?
admin stuff? Like you could ask the AI if you had a customer called Peter.
Yes. So I think the next thing I did was like I actually started prototyping an MCP server that was Laravel based.
All right, so not JavaScript.
Not JavaScript, raw, just like Laravel PHP code. And I was actually pretty surprised about how like quickly so I tried like a million times just getting Cursor to build something, and I kept saying like, well, I think the main lesson I learned is something I feel like we keep rediscovering with these like LLM tools. Like I started with the big ask, like try to make a minimal like MCP server in PHP or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it just like completely hallucinated like the MCP protocol. So it was like, then we do the handshake, then we do the authentication token, and I'm like, that's just something you made up. Like that's not how it works. And then I spent way too long just trying to get it to simplify it and fix it. Whereas like if you're already like if you ask for something too big and it doesn't work, the only thing to do is to just completely start over, because you're never going to get it to like simplify something really complicated, because it's almost like the context window is just completely full of garbage. And it's just the only way to fix it is like have a completely clean new context window. don't know if you ever run into that. So then
it's like two sides of it, because sometimes in Claude Code it auto compacts the context window when it gets to a certain size, and you lose some there. So that it's like sometimes you want it to compact, and sometimes you really don't want it to compact.
Yeah, so basically the only way that I could make it work was to have the protocol literally like how the protocol works in one window, and then have cursor, and then I just asked it to do it bit by bit. So I was like, okay, the first goal is just to get the initialize call to work for one transport layer, something like that, and then really like just keep the scope as small as possible and still like make meaningful progress. Because then as soon as I got the MCP inspector tool to to make a request, I think the first step was just to literally open up some sort of connection that the MCP inspector tool can connect to, and then take that initial call that it makes and just whatever it is, just dump it into the log, and then no more than that. That's actually the first thing I did. It's just like, I just want like some connection on like standard input, and I just want you to take literally just the first thing that comes in and just drop it into the log and then stop. Because then I was like, okay, I know that I can sort of like connect these two tools together, and now I also know what they sent. So then I could start like building the actual parsing and start to like really like implement the protocol, and then I started to really get somewhere. And then I actually had something where I did like a tool that was just like echo. So you could just it's called echo in PHP as well when you want to print something to the screen, or if you remember. But so it's literally the echo tool. You call you could initialize the connection. You could list the tools. You would see this echo tool, and you could call this echo tool with a string, and then it would return the string back to you. And I was like, this is doable. And then I started working in Laravel.
That's what you would have like. That's how I would have started if I was doing it by hand as well.
Yeah,
like that's how we do it. It's just like one step at a time.
Yeah, and you would you would not do this if you're not a programmer and a pretty experienced programmer.
Yeah, at least it helps a lot to know how the process is what used to be.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there is an AI model that can do it, and I'm sure there will be at some point. But it really felt like with something like big, complicated, and new like this, it's really a matter of like having strong opinions, hand holding it, and then what I do is like whenever something just I can't figure something out, I spend a lot of time like crafting a really good prompt for O3, and I ask that because that's included with my ChatGPT subscription, whereas in Cursor it's like whatever, like 30 or 50 cents every time you call it.
Oh yeah.
And it's just I like it better just in ChatGPT, and then it can sort of like sit there and think, and then I can keep working in Cursor until I come back, and like then it just almost figures it out.
Yeah, it's really good at those complex problems where the faster models just like jump ahead, just jump right into it. Yeah, I think like you're right in that writing a good prompt is the way to go about it, but that could just as well be a better system prompt, right? That Cursor, like the opinions that you think you have could just as well be Cursor's opinions, but they have the problem that then their opinions are going to apply to everyone.
Yeah.
So it's like, at what level do you put the opinions? Because if they don't put theirs in the system prompt, then it's going to have no opinions. So then the user has to put in their opinions.
Yeah.
Opinions. It's tricky, right? So probably that's why you need another model in front to look at whatever the user put in. Yeah.
Cursor. Did you know that? They have their own model.
Yeah, that determines which, like, I think that's what happens when you
and it's also what applies the code and does the autocomplete and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
It's also in charge of like dropping stuff back into the files and patching it all together.
Yeah, because those actions are probably in a format that they want to understand, so they can make the editor do the thing actually.
Yeah.
It's what they use Turbo Buffer for as well, to store all the code tokens that you have in your project. Yeah.
Interesting. Another cool thing, like, because you're talking about cursor and opinions and stuff like that. While we built this template, Adam started using cursor for the first time, really.
Oh yeah.
And he's sort of like, he's I wouldn't say he loves it. That's for the extreme over. Of just be lying, basically. but he's really started to see like the value, I think, and he's also gotten really good at using it. I feel like he's like, it's just fun to like see him like sort of cross that bridge, and then he started, because surprise, he's got a lot of opinions about how stuff should be done, so he pretty quickly grew a significant cursor rules file.
All right, yeah.
If you can imagine. And
I'm actually, if you have more, go ahead.
I have more, because then what we started talking about is like, it would be cool if, as part of Tailwind Plus, we could sort of offer a way to give your editor this sort of taste that we put in here, if that makes sense. And that was part of the reason why I started exploring MCP servers, actually. And so I started tinkering with an MCP server that could do this, because you could just like give people the cursor rules, but there's several problems. Like, first of all, not everyone uses cursor. They're Markdown, so you could use them with other editors as well. But we also, especially if they're like a paid thing, you don't really want people to just commit them to GitHub. Like, just sort of want it to be a little more hidden than that. And so it would be cool for us to have an easy way to update them. So then I started looking into the MCP stuff, and then realized that actually in MCP, there's different aspects of an MCP server. There's tools, which is like you're asking the system to do something. Then there's prompts. That's if the system is an AI, you can send a prompt over. And then there's resources, and resources is like more static content. So like documentation, stuff like this would be perfect as a resource. But yeah, Cursor doesn't support resources, so that just wouldn't work. And then and there's like some good reasons for it, I think. Like, one of them is that let's say you have like some really long resources. What, sorry?
You mentioned it in the last episode, that when do we update those resources?
That's part of it, but then also just like, it's more like, when do we include these in the context? Because if they're really long, they're going to completely pollute the context. Yeah. But so maybe I talked about this 2 weeks ago. But I found like a way to do it as tools. So basically, if you just have a long list of tools that are basically these opinions, and you have descriptions that describe the rule, that will go into the context just by doing the list tools call. So by putting it as tools, actually, I could get Cursor to like write better Tailwind, but it wasn't. It was really pretty rough. And I think it won't be long before they support resources, because it's basically like just a more like custom way of the custom docs they have in Cursor. It's very similar to that. It's just like that, maybe behind auth. Yeah, so I've been diving deep. I think I'm going to do a talk on MCP servers at the next Laravel meetup in Copenhagen. Casper, if you're listening, this is me replying to your message in Slack that I haven't replied to yet.
Is you applying for your third part-time job?
Because it's like, I don't know, it's just it feels like it's going to be a thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk about it, at least. I'm not using any MCP servers actively.
No, because there aren't very many.
That, and I don't know. It's like it just feels still that development is a sort of a local constrained-ish sort of activity where MCP servers are all like reaching out to the world, I guess. But I guess it could help to have Stripe.
Like imagine you have like a support person and you want them to be able to like do stuff in Stripe, but you don't.
Oh yeah.
Just like tell them,
just
you can just
thinking
ask
from,
Claude
like-
to do it. Just tell Claude to like do a refund for you. That'll do it the right way.
I'm of course thinking from code, which isn't everything.
Right.
I forget if it's marketing week or coding week.
Yeah. Even like just some of the products at Laravel, I'm starting to think like, could we sneak in some MCP stuff there, you know?
Yeah.
And I think
I don't know.
it's like even for I think it's even interesting for like local development in Cursor to just like have tools that can like be smart about like stuff in your code base and stuff like that. Like if you have like Aaron Francis like recently published, I haven't checked it out, but I think he published like a package that will like take certain parts of your production database and pull it down locally and so you can get that stuff locally to test it. And like when you start to have like more complex stuff like that, like maybe it makes sense for some like somehow for an LLM to have access to like do some of those things and like apply some of them.
Like the just ordinary Postgres MCP is pretty popular. For the same reason that you can actually introspect the real data. There's always going to be differences between.
Yeah, I think even for Tailwind, like I'm starting to think that there are ways that an MCP server could be useful.
Yeah.
Like for example, we have our upgrade tool, and that can do way more than just upgrading from V3 to V4. Like it can do some pretty interesting things to like make your code better. And it
does almost like 4 to 4.1 to 4.1.3 or whatever. It's like
just like
it's still going
from where you are now to like more like slightly more modern or less bad Tailwind. And maybe there's a way to like give AI a bit more context about some of how we think you should use it.
Yeah. There probably is. Somehow,
like
I'm finding.
I think Adam has a good point. Adam has a good point where like he thinks that like a lot of stuff that people should just have made tools already, they're like now trying to make like MCP tools and wrapping them in AI and stuff, and that's not really needed. I think that's true for many things, but I am like trying to like open my mind to the fact or to see like more like actually real like use cases where it would be actually really nice to have more of an AI in the loop.
I think it reminds me of like when everything needed to be like the IoT days, where like the fridge had to have a computer itself. Whereas like at least by now we know that like you already have a computer in your pocket. There's no reason to have a screen on your fridge. I'm sure somebody out there will have a reason for it, but like it feels sort of the same with MCP. Like we need to have AI in everything, where it's like, okay, we can just have AI in one place and it can use all the other tools, like to keep the tools separate. There's no need for my hammer to know how a screwdriver works. I can just pull out one and then pull out the other when I need them. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
It's like
I'll say one thing like without because
connected.
There's one thing I can spoil a little bit that I'm experimenting with or looking at just because Taylor from Laravel spoiled it already. Because he tweeted what would go in routes/AI.php file. And that was something that I was sort of tinkering with a little bit. Still not sure what's going to come out of it. But right now in Laravel, there's like a routes folder and there's a web.php file, which is fully web-based routes. Like browser, it's sort of the middleware for when you're using a browser. And then there's one called API if you have an API. So there's different set of middleware for that. And then there's one called commands, which is like the command line interface through your app. So it's kind of weird that it's in routes, but at the same time, it's still an entry point. So it sort of makes sense to have it there. Yeah. And then just like, what if there was an AI.php file, which is where you can quickly see the entry points from an AI's perspective, or like where the AI is entering your application.
Yeah.
They could still point to all the same things behind the scenes, but it's just sort of the routing layer that's made for AI. And I think it's really interesting.
There's something called LLMs.txt, which is sort of also a thing that they are trying to establish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so something like that could go in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm finding that like I'm barely opening Cursor anymore. I'm just going all in on Claude Code instead. I think it really fits my workflows at the moment. And actually, I don't use that many local configs like the Claude.md or like similar to Cursor rules. I'm more leaning into learning how to prompt it, I guess, just instead, like knowing what to include when I write the.
I actually haven't tried Claude Code yet.
It's good.
And I actually don't really use the Claude models anymore in Cursor. I only use Gemini.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because I feel like Claude 3.7 is just pure garbage. Like, I just feel like I just never loved that model. I think it's so bad. But I heard someone say in a podcast they think it's bad in Cursor because it was built for Claude Code, with Claude Code in mind. And I sort of believe that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because people using Claude Code loves it, and people using Cursor hates it. And with the Claude desktop app, it's really bad too. Like, I'll default to 3.5 still, anyways, even though it's from like the fall of 24. But yeah, Gemini, the new one, the Gemini, which is like from April, I think, or maybe March.
2.5.
It's so good. Like, it's so fast. It's so good. It's just really nice.
All right. I need to try that still. But yeah, I see that Claude Code splits up its requests now. So it uses 3.5 for some things and then 3.7 for other things. I think probably to save costs or like something like that. But yeah, it does work really well in Claude Code. And I think maybe because of the tools that it knows it can use in Claude Code, it has its own like run this script or list this directory or read this file or whatever. So yeah, that works pretty well. But like I was going at, you need to learn how to prompt it. It's like you learn these keywords like tell it to not write code when you don't want it to, tell it to make a plan, tell it to think hard. That's like a keyword for like use the reasoning model for this task. And for certain things you have to tell it to think hard. Like, it doesn't automatically figure it out on its own that it needs to think hard, because
there's some subtle things you learn to do pretty quickly, and then you see people that don't have much experience using these tools, and it's just really interesting because you just pick up really quickly, oh, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like if like, for example, like sometimes I say, or something like that when I write the prompt, and it's like very on purpose. It's like to indicate that it's not, I didn't give you the answer. I just trying to like send you in a certain direction and want you to think about this, but I'm not 100% sure. So I add them things like that, or I'm like, I see someone use Cursor and they mention something that they didn't have to mention to explain this problem. And I'm like, oh, that's going to send it in the wrong direction because it's going to pick up on that. And it wasn't actually important to like do the thing you wanted it to do. And I just know, like, I'm very cautious about what I tell it. But if you just saw it and you had no idea, you would think it's completely random what I say, but it's actually not. It's like very on purpose when I say stuff like, or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. And also, like, tell it that it's okay to say no, or like, go another route or something like that.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But I guess like the key here is like, it's almost like you're learning to work with a person, like someone, a new colleague, and you also learn how to talk to them. Like everyone's special. So you need to tell it in one way to one person and another way to another person. And that's just how life is, I guess, how people are. And the models are sort of the same. You need to learn how to speak to the model to get it to do what you want it to. And just now I was doing a pretty big thing, and I'm becoming more and more confident in doing broad, like big changes using Claude Code. You just have to prompt it right, follow it along, do it in the right order, make it do one thing at a time, stuff like that. Tell it to like doing Funnymost, the comedy hosting platform, and my I don't know, commerce records like purchase or order or whatever it's called, checkout. It's just like the project is a decade old, so it was first created when Stripe was just like charge.create, and then money got sent, and then everything else happened, and now it's just like a whole process with webhooks and everything. So my data is like shows that it's gone through multiple iterations, and I just wanted to, like, it's confusing to me every time I get back to the project, like what are we using now? Is it purchase or checkout or order, or what is it? So I actually am currently right now having Claude Code, like streamlining the process, keeping all the legacy data but doing it like the proper way that we're going to use from now on, and it's working. It's going well. Yeah. It's like and I barely had to plan. I just like told it my sort of off the top of the head planning notes. Like, I want it to be backwards compatible. I wanted you to, like, you can add new models, you can add new fields if you want to. Don't remove anything, but just like yeah. And it seems to working. It seems to work. So
do you know who Dax is? The serverless guy, JavaScript.
Yeah.
Him and Adam Elmore, I think, have a podcast I listen to sometimes. Do you know that one?
No.
Anyways, it's always like when they start, Adam is always like just a second, because he's always like writing prompts for Claude Code before they start recording.
In between.
He wants it to code while he's doing the podcast.
Yeah. That's for his fourth side job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Funnymost is out now, actually. I haven't told anyone, but the old domain redirects to the new one, and the new landing page is up, and everything is migrated and moved. Yeah.
It's awesome.
It is. And my friend, good friend, prominent comedian in Denmark, Ruben Søltoft, is his new show is coming out soon. So I had to get it out before then. And he's doing some fun things. So I love working with him. He's always full of funny ideas. But he's gonna be on Funnymost, so that's gonna be the true test of the new setup.
Well, did you change the pricing on it, or it's still the same?
It's still the same. I just put it in euros instead on the website now. I think, like,
so you just set 7x the price by just adding euros instead of krona?
Divided by 7, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so
I thought you just changed DKK to EUR.
yeah. It's 0.85 euros per sale. That's the equivalent.
No, I thought you made 6 kroner just be 6 euros when they sold something.
Oh, yeah. I should have. I'm leaving money on the table. Yeah, but I'm not planning on getting any. Maybe I could convince my friend Sophie to get her shows on it, and that would be international. But during the migration, I just translated everything to English, and then I plan on like picking parts to translate back into Danish now, which is like the items page, like the show, the individual show page. But just like during the transition, it was easier to just like ignore localization completely. And I've done a bunch of like backfilling and but it like still working with Claude Code to do this, it's such a joy. like for classes that like a test or something, it's just like write a test for this, and it's like takes a second and there's a test, and it's not exactly what you would have written, but I feel like this is like a new chapter has begun, because I used to spend so much time and energy on writing the tests in a nice way and like completely to my liking, and in like aspect and with the nested structure and like context and whatever, like, and all of that I realize now was to make it easier to write them and maintain them. But when you don't have to think about the time spent writing them, it's just like, what's the real benefit here?
Yeah.
That's to have like a reproducible going through the whole thing, seeing if it still works going forward. And that can just as well be just like in any format, as long as it's like just asserting the right things and testing the right code paths. I don't care about if it's like 150 lines or if it's 100 lines. This doesn't matter at all. Actually, really maybe crazy. It's easier to maintain if it's like 150 lines, because if you don't, like, specs could be really convoluted at times. Like, to save a few lines, you would have to like reuse, set up more methods, and like use the same item here and there and everywhere, and that's like, you end up with this sort of a bird's nest of method calls that just like reference each other, and that gets really out of hand quickly. So actually having 200 lines instead of 100, but every test is like sticks to its own universe, that's even maybe better. And when you don't have to think about writing the lines, like,
right, the testing stuff is really, that's one of the reasons I make sure to include a bunch of testing stuff in the Cursor talk, because it's, I don't know, that's part of the real magic to me.
Yeah,
like, I have the bit where I'm like, let's make some changes here. Oh, actually there's no tests. Oh, I don't feel good about making changes when there's no tests. And then like, Cursor, can you add some tests? Boom, there's tests. Oh, now we can make some changes.
Yeah, and it's also like to sort of align with the model. Do we even agree on what this is supposed to do?
Yeah.
Because it'll like, you'll tell it a thing and it'll write it, and then it's like, I'm done. And there's like no checking if it is done. So then you tell it to write a test, you see, okay, we're actually expecting the same things, and then you tell it to run it, and it runs it, and we see that it wasn't done. So now you almost like, you gave it a method to check itself whether it's done or not.
Yeah.
As well. So yeah, it just compounds the more you feed into it.
There was one day where Cursor was just completely, I think that's where I switched to Gemini permanently. Every time I asked it to do something, like write a test or something, it kept doing the thing where it's like, this is where the actual test would go. This is where the actual code would go. And it was just so infuriating. I'm like, write the code. And it just wouldn't do it.
I had that just now. We were planning, and then it said, all right, I'm done. And I went to like, you do a git diff, and there was nothing. So I went back to it and told it, I don't think you are. There's no code.
But it's the apply model, I think, sometimes that screws
like,
it up.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
But it's even more frustrating when it added the comments. Like, it adds comments to the code. It's like, this is where the actual code would go to do this.
Yeah.
It's like,
I asked on Twitter, because that's one thing about 3.7. I haven't figured out a way to make it not write comments everywhere. It's like method for checking whether the thing is complete, and then it's like on the next line, def completed ? Which is like, okay. Ruby almost reads like English. You don't have to tell everything. Well, but I can make it not write comments.
This was actually,
the one tip that I got was to like have it remove the comments again, which I'm just about ready to put in like a pre-commit hook.
It is so eager. Like, it's crazy eager.
It's so dumb. It's like,
it's so smart and so dumb.
Yeah.
I actually just had with Gemini where I wanted it to, I had an exception. I called an exception, and then in the exception, I wanted to call a method in Laravel Nova to like show an error message, and it's a one-liner, but I just couldn't remember how you did that. So I asked it to do that, and then it added at least like 15 lines of code, because it added like all these log statements and comments, and it added checks for like if variables existed, and then if they didn't exist, it had like a complicated like log statement for the variable. And it's like, do the simplest, most minimal version of this possibly.
Yeah, barely do anything.
and it just couldn't couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I got the line that I couldn't remember how to write, but I had to remove like 15 lines of code.
Actually, yeah, that's one thing that you need to learn to turn off and on to is like auto accept code changes for Claude Code, especially when writing tests, because it can work itself like into, it starts mocking out everything, or like it was missing a route helper, like items store path or whatever it was, and I just had spelled it wrong, and it started like mocking out the method to make it not error, and like it's like it just starts hacking the whole
it's not gonna stop, it's just gonna
that's right,
do something.
So for tests, actually, specifically, you might not want to have it just like auto accept everything.
My friend Visti said he put it in YOLO mode, and then he had instructions that it always had to run the test suite. And then he also talked about having something installed that I can't remember what it's called, but it's like it checks like some architecture related things, like this. You can't have like too many dependencies in both directions, and you can't like bunch of like rules around sort of how the code is structured. That's like higher level, and it had to run that too, I think. So it would like sort of be forced to like keep going until it fixed those like architectural things, or the test suite was green. It's kind of interesting. So it had to go sometimes pretty long. On Dax's podcast, they talked about how they think Cursor is the company in the world history that's given away most money. I really think it must be true. It's like I'm definitely using more than $20 a month.
Oh yeah.
I must,
Yeah, that's like the economies of scale, but some people aren't.
Yeah.
So maybe it checks out in the end.
Anyways, I think I have to run in not too long. Is there anything, any tenor records or anything we need to put on the record?
Probably. Yeah, I think it's at an all-time high. Let's check it.
Up and to the right.
Yeah, that's right.
That is right.
That is right. Let's see. Yes, just today it's crossing having more subscriptions than cancels for this month. So that makes like almost...
Yeah. And it's only halfway through.
Yeah. All-time high. Checks out.
Sick.
Boring news. Boring.
Yeah.
All right, Peter. I gotta go to the bathroom real quick as well. So let's just end it here.
See you later.
Bye.